Hi, and welcome to the Data Strategy Gurus podcast. James, welcome again to the podcast. This time it's in a virtual mode. Last time we were in fabulous Las Vegas, and a lot has happened in the meanwhile. I mean, the acquisition with Talend came through. You're now in a new role. You're Chief Strategy Officer at Qlik. And yeah, this is something I want to discuss with you, with a lot of going on in the data analytics space, generative AI. So how are you doing after coming back from Las Vegas and in that new role?
Yeah, look, it was great to see you in Las Vegas, and it's disappointing to be back in this kind of virtual world again. It was so great to be able to interact with people in real time and all those things that come with that. But as you say, a lot has changed. The acquisition of Talend has now closed, and we are incredibly excited to be able to welcome a wonderful team of colleagues to the Qlik family. A set of capabilities that enrich our portfolio, our ability to support an end-to-end data and analytics lifecycle with incredible, powerful solutions, data integration, data quality governance, and making that available in an open and heterogeneous world is super exciting. And for me, having the opportunity to be part of that as Chief Strategy Officer, to think about how we bring the two companies together and how we evolve our combined organization to take advantage of the opportunities that sit out there with generative AI, as you say, but also continue to maintain a focus on helping our customers solve real world business problems with data and analytics is super exciting.
Yeah, where you say it feels like the acquisition with Talend came in at the right time. I mean, we need data to have good AI, and we can use AI to optimize that data. So that's where I see the sweet spot of Talend having there with data quality management tools, data quality optimization, visibility of your complete pipelines. So how do you see that being integrated in the complete stack of Qlik now?
Yeah, I think for me, there are really two sort of fundamental opportunities that we can help our customers with. The migration and the shift of data into the cloud was sort of transformational in terms of the data solutions market, and organizations have made huge investments in their data infrastructure to take advantage of that shift towards the cloud. And I think actually the rise of generative AI, specifically the need to train foundation and large language models in enterprise data that data owns, creates, manages, and protects, is going to be another great kind of opportunity for organizations to think about how they're creating data products, how they're breaking down silos of data, how they're delivering a data fabric that will support their deployments of generative AI. So on one hand, I think it's going to be incredibly important for organizations to continue to refine their data strategies in light of generative AI. But of course, then we get those opportunities to apply generative AI within our own product set as well.
Yeah, and how will you apply that in such a way? There are a few things going on. You have one part is the ethical part, everybody being afraid of a generative AI, putting all their data in the cloud and being available, accessible to everybody else. That's the first concern. Let's tackle that first. What countermeasures is Qlik taking to make sure that your data is safe in the cloud and that it can be used by a generative AI model?
Yeah, absolutely. So from a Qlik perspective, we've always built a cloud platform, best in class governance, compliance, security around that underlying platform. But as it applies specifically to generative AI, then I think what we're going to be seeing is organizations proceed with caution around sort of open models and putting their data into sort of open models. Organizations are going to look to own that process, working with those technologies that are available in the market. And that's really where creating a governed a sort of data fabric around the data that they are training their AI models on, either foundational or large language models to support GPT type technologies, is going to be key, and I think will play a key role in actually supporting that process. In the near term, as we think about our own application of the technology to augment data and analytics processes, that will be done in such a way that we're not putting the privacy, the IP, the governance of that data at risk. So we're not asking and suggesting at this point whether the customers are putting all of their data into an open model and asking questions of it that exposes all that data to the rest of the world. I think there are a lot of applications in the near term, some of which you saw in Las Vegas at Qlik World, which allow us to get the benefits of this technology by augmenting the creation of script, augmenting and suggesting the right type of analytic and visualization. And then as organizations are developing that governed, curated set of data that they can apply their own models to, then so we'll be able to work with that as well.
Yeah, and where you see generative AI is pretty good on pre-trained data. It has a harder time of real-time data and really on-the-spot retraining that model that already exists. So that's a kind of where I see, if I'm talking to clients where they are afraid, yes, generative AI brings a possibility, but to have that real-time insights, this is still a step too early. How do you feel that is going on and the evolution in real-time insights thanks to generative AI?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think that the notion of real time has always been a debate, right, in terms of what real time means. And we've had the conversation, I think, before, right? The pace of business has obviously changed dramatically, and what organizations need in terms of real time to answer questions is different depending on the use case, the user, the organization, and the data set. But all of this ultimately, I think, points to the fact that just as we've done with data and analytics deployments previously, we have to think about governance. We have to think about the ethics as well. Of course, we need to proceed cautiously. I think you sort of applied it earlier. What we're seeing is fear in equal measure: fear of missing out on the opportunity and fear of doing something that will have a catastrophic impact on our business or on our lives. So governance is key, and that governance applies right down the stack in terms of the creation of those data models that are being used, how that's being used, how it's being trained, and as we've seen with AI failures previously during the pandemic, the UK government used AI to produce expected exam results for students based upon previous tests that they were done, and the models weren't tested properly. That failed in many respects. It didn't spot those outliers, those students that actually would have done quite well. So that governance piece, that testing piece, is always going to be at the heart of everything you do, I think, with data, and we need to learn from that. Just as we learn, with the internet. The internet has been transformational in lots of good ways and some bad ways, and we need to be able to respond very, very quickly to those issues with generative AI, as exactly as we in some cases have done, and in some cases perhaps should have responded more quickly to the evolution of the internet itself.
Does that mean that we need a different kind of skill set, looking a bit different to approach on how we test this, how we develop the solutions and bring that to the world, and then in a certain way, the governance part, what you've been mentioning all the time, that's to my belief a thing where we need to find a framework, an approach that helps us on making sure, okay, test it. We know it can fail, but don't shoot it right away, and learn from that and go as we learn from it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if I would describe it as a new skill set. Obviously, there's new technology involved in all of these things, new terminology involved in all of these things. There's so many conversations where the notions are mixed between AI, generative AI, foundation, large language models. It's easy to get confused with all of the terminology here. But I think the same rules apply. good data governance, good testing of analytics, ensuring good data quality, being able to structure data in the right way to provide the right insights. That's been a common practice in everything we've talked about in the world of data and analytics for years. And I think it's recognizing that while there's a lot of excitement around generative AI, and almost the impression of some kind of magic with it, the reality is it's all about the data at the heart of it, and getting that right is the key to, I think, managing the opportunity and the risk.
Yeah. And I was thinking as well, there's a lot going on, and then I like to talk a bit or look from a perspective like from a certain role. So I'm a CIO, for example. What could generative AI bring together with a stack like Qlik for running my business? I have the data warehouse, I have a data platform, but I'm still missing a lot. That's something that we still know. How can that help run my business in a better way, my technology stack?
Yeah. So again, I think this world is incredibly cyclical, right? I suspect we'll have kind of many conversations that perhaps refer back to each other over the years. And I think there are two elements to it. I sort of mentioned this earlier. The first, of course, is in that persona, that role, and you're looking at building out programs around generative AI. Understanding the good quality, trusted data is the heart of it. That's absolutely where you need to start. And with the combination of Qlik and Talend being able to deliver a rich, complete set of data integration, quality and governance solutions, the ability to create an open data fabric, which is not tied to a single stack, that brings in a huge variety of data with good veracity as well. I think is absolutely key and foundational. The other key component of this, of course, is sort of more rooted in that notion of GPT-chat and where we sort of see a lot of people experimenting and playing with the technology today, which is really around augmentation. One of the challenges that we've seen over the years is how do you engage more users with the data that you have in your organization? How do you make more people data driven? How do you address barriers to data literacy that exist out within your organization? And provided there's a solid foundation of good quality data, then I think the technology will play a key role in helping people get more engaged with their data. And that's exactly how we're thinking about it in the first applications within the Qlik portfolio, providing connectivity for our analytic and automation solutions into those technologies is the first step on that process. But as we've done with a rich history in augmented analytics, being able to then apply this to the generation of script, the creation of data prep jobs, the creation of automation workflows, the generation of insights through natural language, the ability to continue that conversation with a data model that exists. All of that serves, I think, to further drive organizational goals in terms of using more data, consuming more data, and then really that being a key for wider transformation, the ability to do something different with the insights that you've been given. And I think the applications of that become significant, and I think we're only really seeing the tip of the iceberg in terms of what potentially is going to be possible as we move forward.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying. We're having a stack which is already very fabulous, and we're just augmenting or improving the investment what we have done thanks to generative AI to make the pipelines more performant, to make it easier to build a new complete pipeline and visualization of our data, and having faster insights thanks to the investment what we already did in such a way. When I think of really the people on the operational part, the data scientists, the data engineers, how will that improve their life, make their life easier? These are still the magicians pulling in the data, integrating the data, making it available to the business, and trying to get that value out of their data.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and I think going back to the sort of the previous point, I'll shamelessly borrow a line that an industry analyst gave and shared with me a few weeks ago, which is that in terms of where we are on this journey, it's a bit like the advent of television, and the first television programs really just took radio shows and added a visual to them. It took a long time to really understand the potential power of television and how that has evolved. And I think that journey is what we're about to see. It was a great analogy from an incredible analyst that shared that with me. To answer your question, though, I think that we're going to see more demands placed on these specialist roles in terms of the creation of data, the testing of data. It's very easy to let the masses have new technology, but unless you're putting a governance framework in place. So I think the first instance is we're going to see a lot more demands placed on these individuals. But again, I think the role for me of these technologies is about involving more people in the data and analytics problem. We do that today with our AutoML capabilities, right? We're taking the idea of machine learning and creating machine learning models and democratizing that, not from just the world of data scientists, but actually empowering business users to work with those models, to create those models and integrate that as part of their analytic applications that they're building. So for me, I think this is going to see more demands on those specialist roles, more demands on the quality, movement, integration of data, the creation of a data fabric that breaks down silos. But again, this for me is all about empowering the masses and bringing more people into the workflow, and that will have impacts on the entire data and analytics landscape as we do that.
Yeah, really collaborating together, and thanks to all the technology that we have available now, things can go much faster. So you can really go back and forth in a few hours and get these insights, understand from the business, hey, this is the model I've built, but still this is missing. Okay, let's tweak it, rerun it, and see if this output is really what you were expecting, and moving in a more agile way than typically where it took a few years to build a model, to give the insights and really see the value. So that's really a different approach where I see generative AI on top of, like you explained it with the visuals, on top of the radio show, where that will go then.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And for strategy, what do you see in your next steps in your new role at Qlik? Next things that will even make the platform a lot better?
Well, look, we are right now very, very focused on ensuring that we can, bring Qlik and Talend together. As we shared at Qlik World in Las Vegas, the opportunity is huge for us. We will do that in an incredibly thoughtful way. One of the mantras we've always had is cloud first, but not cloud only. Respect customers' data wherever that resides, and protect customers' investments. And those three kind of rules of engagement are right at the heart of how we're thinking about this. So we will ensure that all of our customers are able to continue to benefit and can consume Qlik and Talend solutions as they've always had. But at the same time, we recognize that there's a huge opportunity for us to provide a complete solution that offers real breadth of capability across data integration, quality, governance, analytics, AI, machine learning, and automation, making that available, best-in-class solutions from a single vendor, cloud agnostic. So that absolutely is key in terms of our thinking. Understanding the role of AI, machine learning, generative AI in that entire life cycle is key. We'll be making a couple of announcements in a week or two's time around some of the first deliverables around that generative AI roadmap, building on what we showed as prototypes at Qlik World earlier this year. So we're excited about that. And then as we're working with customers and partners, as I said, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg. We're discovering new use cases every day. So we're going to continue to work with the ecosystem, the customer community, build out that pipeline and that roadmap, and really start to continue to apply generative AI as we described, being able to generate insights, help with the creation of workflows, scripts, and just lower that barrier to entry.
Yeah, I mean, I had a question of if people want to start with generative AI, where should they start? Just tell me. You have a few announcements up your sleeve in the coming weeks where these roadmaps will be rolled out and will of help to your customers and everybody that wants to start with generative AI and really take the value from this new technology on top of quality data.
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot that we could be doing here, and we will continue to work with customers around all of those things. First of all, I think understanding where generative AI is being applied in their organizations today, how that works and can interact to augment the data analytics workflow, being able to connect to open AI models, being able to incorporate generative AI interactions into workflows and automations, I think is an obvious place to be getting started. And then I think, as I said, the ability to sort of augment the process, creation of synthetic data, helping with the creation of script, all the sorts of things we're starting to see people do in their kind of their real lives, either from a developer or somebody in a customer service environment, and applying that to the data problem in the same way, I think is a good place to get started. But again, I think longer term, we've got to address these bigger issues around governance, quality of data, the privacy of data, and the ethics and testing around these things. And that, I think, creates a really great opportunity to focus on that data fabric. So if you are worried about that fear of missing out, but the fear of the risk and the opportunity, then, number one thing, fix the data strategy, get that crisp, that clear, because that's going to be at the heart of everything you do moving forward.
Yeah, the fear of missing out, but really understand what you want to try to achieve. Data strategy, align it to the business strategy. If you understand what you want to achieve with your company, you know which data strategy you can apply. What excites you the most about generative AI in a general way, besides of ChatGPT and having fun just asking silly questions and getting amazing responses out of that, but in the context of a data and analytics industry then?
Well, let's put it this way: GPT-chat has a great opportunity to describe, who I am in a wonderful way. So I continue to monitor to continue to monitor how it does that. I think for me, look, I have data and analytics in my blood. I'm coming up to 9 years here at Qlik. We're about to celebrate our 30-year anniversary. For me, this is just yet another validation of the importance of the world of data, the world of analytics, and that's what excites me most. I think we are seeing. We have seen and will continue to see just more and more growth in terms of people passionate about information, passionate about data, passionate about learning with that data. And I think that this technology, all of these technologies applied in the right way with good governance, good ethics around them, is going to have an incredible impact on business and on all our lives. And look, the more people that can read, write, understand, and work with data, I think that's a good thing, and I think generative AI is going to help with that.
James, marvelous words to wrap up this conversation. It was great having you again and catching up in your new role as Chief Strategy Officer at Qlik. Thanks for your time again, and speak soon.
Yeah, thanks, Yves. Great to talk to you.